And I'm also giving thanks to my spiritual father, Kinish Hanab Pakal, the ninth dimensional entity who incarnated as the king of Lakamha, later called Palenque. I am here to do your work, and I thank you for your continued energetic support. Greetings, dear soul. Today I am going to reveal one of the most cosmic synchronicities imaginable on planet Earth. Een Lak'esh, Tzolk'in, Namaste. I am another you, you are another me, we are one God-sciousness. Very few people would or could argue that two of the most spiritually influential books ever, let's just say of the last 5,000 years, are A Course in Miracles and The Law of One, the raw material. They are two of the top 10 or two of the top very few books with greater spiritual ramifications for the evolution of consciousness of humanity. And what I'm going to reveal to you today is the cosmic synchronicity between the two women and two men that made those books happen, which you cannot see in any other possible way than the divine Mayan Tzolk'in calendar. Now, what I feel to be very true, which was brought through by other people, is the fact that this is not just a calendar. It is a representation of DNA, and it perfectly maps the precession of the equinoxes, and it is also an entity or an outpicturing of a ninth dimensional entity, which you could call Tzolk'in, which would therefore have to be a fractal of the Metatron energy that exists in the ninth dimension, that feeds into the sixth dimension directly, and that is represented by the collective consciousness called Melchizedek, who were a teacher of the one that we call Yeshua. The Melchizedek consciousness filters down into the third dimension, 9, 6, 3, all directly connected, and transmits the highest level of sacred geometry, which is also therefore sacred math. This is math, my friends, just by the simple combination of the ratios of the two numbers 13 and 20. It creates the most incredible synchronicity revealing matrix in our galaxy. So, what we need to know. I'm not going to speak about the philosophical, sociological, spiritual, emotional, or psychological ramifications of either of these books, but really, you should read them. If you believe in the maxim, know thyself, these two books are a part of you because you are a part of God-sciousness. You are human, fractal, holy hologram of God-sciousness. We are an evolving consciousness. Nobody in the world would be talking about densities right now if it were not for the raw material, the law of one. It is all explained in there. You need to understand. And it's very easily accessed through this wonderful website. You can search titles or the individually channeled sessions, everything. So go there. If you have questions about A Course in Miracles, there's endless places to find answers. I myself read the book first online, and I took over 1,300 screenshots, and then I gave each of them a title, and I put them all in folders. That's how Crispy do. That's how I learned the material. Okay, so if you have questions, you can ask me, and I will help you with what I know. Now, what we need to know are the 2 women and 2 men who created, I should say, who channeled, who downloaded this information. First, because it came chronologically first, A Course in Miracles. This was brought to us by a woman named Helen Schucman, a doctor of psychology, a psychiatrist at Columbia University in New York City. These channelings came through between 1965 and 1972, and they could not have happened without William Thetford's daily help. Now, Helen was born July 14th, 1909. She was the first tonal of the 19th glyph initiating rainstorm. Bill, April 25th, 1923, was the 3rd tonal of the 12th glyph, activating traveler. So that's interesting, the 19th glyph and the 12th glyph. No particular sparks flying there. Whenever you combine the 19th glyph with any other glyph, you take away 1. So from 12 we go to 11, which is the monkey. And you add the tones together, simply tone 1 and tone 3 equals tone 4, stabilizing monkey. Again, fine. No sparks flying, but it's interesting nonetheless. So, now, the raw material, the law of one, was brought through by Carla Roykert from 1981 to 1984. And it was only through the guidance and instruction of Dr. Don Elkins, a professor of physics at the University of Louisville, who was already interested in UFOs, meditation, and channeling before the year of 1960, who orchestrated every single session. Carla was born July 16th in 1943, and she was the 6th tonal of the 19th glyph, balancing rainstorm. And here we have our first synchronicity. Both women who channeled both of those books were rainstorms. I wonder what dawn was. February 27th, 1930 is the 7th tonal of the 12th glyph, reflecting traveler. Both women, rainstorms, both men, traveler. That kind of synchronicity is mind-blowing, which means ego-blowing. Only the ego has trouble comprehending these things. The soul laughs with glee and delight. Now, Carla being tone 6 and Dawn being tone 7, that equals tone 13. So together they make transcending monkey. Aren't we all transcending monkeys? The monkey is the monkey mind, the 3D animalistic version of us, and we are here to transcend the ego. That's all we're doing here, my friends. That's what the new earth and 5D earth means. And that is the message of both A Course in Miracles and the Law of One, the raw material. The main message of the Law of One is stop being a service to self person, which is stuck in the lower 3 densities, the lower 3 chakras. The ego, the whole ego is the lower 3 chakras, okay? Move into the 4th density, which is the green ray, which is your heart chakra, and then you instantly become service to other, meaning all, service to all that lives, and therefore your ego dissolves. The message of A Course in Miracles, if you could summarize all 750,000 words of this into one word, it would be this: forgive. Do you know who has a hard time forgiving? The ego. The ego cannot forgive. It will not forgive. It makes up falsehoods like, "Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord," which is complete and utter bullshit. I have expanded that to mean unconditional love equals unconditional forgiveness equals unconditional trust, and that third component means you must trust that every single thing that has ever happened to you and every other creature in existence was completely perfect. Every single thing is perfect every single time. There is nothing that has ever happened that was not perfect. There is nothing that will ever happen that will not be perfect, which is cosmic Christ Buddha mind consciousness. And that right there shatters the ego beyond logical reconstruction. I said I wasn't really going to get into the philosophy here, but that's how crispy do. So, what we know about the 2 women who brought in these 2 of the top few spiritually powerful books for all of humanity is Rainstorm, to the Maya, which means to the Pleiadians. This calendar came from the Pleiades in its most recent pit stop. It did not originate in the Pleiades. It originated in the 9th dimension, my friends, which was then stepped down and outpictured into the 6th dimension, which was then taught to various star systems. The 6th one being the Pleiades. Certain planets of the Pleiades, not all of them. There are probably 20 planets with life forms of the 7 stars of the Pleiades. Our sun is the 8th star of the Pleiades solar system. Now, Rainstorm is the number 1 glyph of the whole 20 glyphs. Number 1 glyph associated with the divine feminine, with qualities such as healthy community, cosmic community, cleansing, purification, nourishment, and tough love. Both of these texts are filled with tough love information, which means ego squishing,
I squish your little head, your small me head.
That's what the divine feminine goddess is doing, okay? Do you see? The ego thinks it's so important. Me, 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 me! And the divine feminine goes, squish your head. Silly little ego. I'm not going to read all of these for you. They're all right here. If you want to pause and take a look, go ahead. The traveler is on a lifelong pilgrimage of self-actualization. They are trailblazers. They have a strong quest and destiny. And I like to call them the happy campers. In both of these cases, I believe both men provided this energy to both of those women. And here's another thing. All of the yellow glyphs are the right hand, left brain, logic, thinking. All of the blue glyphs are the left hand, right mind of emotion. They cannot exist without each other. We all have both, and we all need each other to balance. Now, one last little synchronistic nudge, in case you don't believe anything I said so far. Let's look at the very first day that both books began to be channeled. The first day of the Law of One was January 15th, 1981, and this comes out to be pairing Gaia. So a pair, two people, sure, that's there. Gaia is what is actually developing here. We are all cells in the body-mind of Gaia. So the Law of One being energized by Ra, Gaia, the planet, being energized and impregnated every second of every day for the last 4.5 billion years. Gaia, Ra, pairing. You can't argue with that kind of stuff, my friends. So that's cool. But this next first day gets a little bit cooler, if you will. The first day of the course, October 21st, 1965, is Initiating Traveler. So, the one, it was the first of the two books, and the other book happened on a Tone 2 day. Okay, I'm not making this stuff up, my friends. Initiating Traveler. Energized by the Activating Traveler, who activated the initiating rainstorm. All right? So the last thing I'm going to tell you is this. This is a cosmic matrix of synchronicity. It reveals synchronicity to you in a way that nothing else possibly can. Especially the dream spell, which is a broken thing that you should completely ignore. It is a false light teaching. It is the farces of dorkness. It is the dork farces. Ignore it. It's a distraction. Just move on. There's only one Divine Mayan Tzolk'in calendar. This is it. You need to know nothing else except for everything else you need to know. So, Een Lak'esh, Namaste.